everybody. I'm trying to do this video now with a new mic and headset combination. I'm not entirely sure yet if the sound is working correctly. Haven't figured out how to get that going right on the XSplit Gamecaster that I'm using. But I can still use this video to run down what's going on and check it out before I post it on XDeus or to my YouTube channel. So we'll begin with the character sheet and just try to run down what I did. Or, you know, it's not necessarily the best thing to do, I don't think, for everybody, but this is what the rundown on the classes and race at level 30. Currently, because of the racial TRs going on in DDO, I'm still unsure about my end gear setup with all of the pieces in my inventory and how that's going to work. And I'm contemplating, you know, going for the racial TR without tweaking everything up here, because there's no point if I was going to be doing a bunch of lives in a row after this. I don't know if I'm going to keep this character up here or not, but it is what it is. So if you look up here, it says Wizard 16, Favorite Soul 4, and then the Epic level 10. This is a half elf, and I did that for the Dilettante Warlock bonus to casting, or bonus fire damage. And because I started out as a half elf again, and I knew that I was going to be mixing this with Favorite Soul, I didn't really spec it very well for holding or doing crowd control. And it's like I knew that my dice checks for enchantment and for conjuration were going to be way too low for Reaper difficulty anyway, so I've been neglecting it, even though I have some crowd control spells listed over here. Web and Hypno and the Disco Ball. I shouldn't even have them on the bars with those low DC. Is only 63. That's just way not enough for what you need at the high difficulty levels. So it's kind of like, instead of doing that, I was just trying to get the biggest damage amounts raw that I could possibly tweak out of this character. And the two primary spell types are cold and force damage. Even though I didn't spec for fire, it's still doing extra fire damage, which I'm going to show you in a couple seconds here on our training dummy. And I'm going to hover over the spell powers and the spell critical chance and the spell critical multiplier base without any clickies. So the force is 688, fire 684, cold 684. The light is at 640, 644. Okay, so I will go to the enhancements tree to show you what the primary thing is, and that would be the Archmage. And it was for two reasons. It's for the Arcane Supremacy when it triggers. And I'm taking my time with the mouse over the stuff because it still looked like there was a bit of a delay from the XSplit Gamecaster. So it says here your offensive spells gain a 10% chance to trigger Arcane Supremacy. And Arcane Supremacy then does 25% spell critical chance and 100% spell critical damage for 12 seconds. And another reason why we're in this tree, the Archmage tree, was to get the clickies down here for evocation. There's a magic missile clicky, that gust of wind spell, and the chain missiles, which are kind of like really cheap force spells, as well as the arcane bolt. And on the 5th tier, your arcane blast. Now, I guess before I go over there and show you, the whole reason why I did not go undead is because of the amount of action points spent in these three trees. The Archmage, and over here on the left, the half elf, and way over on the right, what you can't see, is the favorite soul tree. We'll scroll over there in a second. Now, because I took the 4 levels of favorite soul, I did it to get the higher critical chance on your spells and higher caster levels with force in conjunction with the Archmage here. And these are all the elemental and force spell powers that work all the way up. Didn't even bother with the DCs that are up here again, knowing that it wasn't going to be that great anyway. Instead, I dumped the points over here into your racial tree to get that half-elf dilettante warlock to its highest tier possible. And there was one more thing I ran out of points on, and that was to gain some special abilities over here. Didn't have enough points for what I wanted. Maybe after I get racial TRs done, I can delve into that some more. Okay, and here's the last tree for the favorite soul, so you can see it. It's way on the end. We went up to the 4th on this with the Force and Light, critical hit chance, and with the Intense Faith, which adds +3 caster level to those types of spells. Not to my cold, though, just to the Force. Use the Force. And the spell penetration. See, I shouldn't even mess with that right now. It's like, what am I trying to overcome for spell pen? Nothing. A lot of tweaking to do if I decide to stay up here. That yields this spell critical chance along with gear. And I'm looking at the middle tier. I wish I could point to it on the screen, but I can't with our recording here. It says Force 55, Cold 42, Fire 50, and the other important one, Light, is 43. I'm gonna shut all of this down. And then we're gonna open up my inventory. Okay, I was working on some stuff. Because I don't know if I'm going to stay at 30, I'm using old Slaver's gear for partial setup just to play at 30. And these are items that I've made for other characters along the way that I just couldn't quite discard of. And this one has a combustion spell power on it and spell focus mastery. And again, on my neck, I'm wearing an item that I had geared for a Warlock. It's the Charisma 17, Quality Charisma 4, and Impulse Spell Power. And if I was going to stay up here, I'd obviously have to recraft a couple of items to get more hit points out of this. I don't have a +17 con item right now. it's something that I would have to work on to get up to be at, I guess, the maximum of what I could do. This intelligence item was originally built for Rogue. It's got Search and Deception on it and the Slave Lord's Might. I didn't alter it or in any way, just using it for, to get the intel up high. The spinner net, that's a mythic ring boost +1 on it. I'm using that right now for my spell pen, +7. Again, probably would recraft if I decide to stay. This item, the Gauntlets of Arcane Soldiers, level 28, but it has Arcane Augmentation 9 on it, which when we were out in Barovia, I noticed that the final piece to the Arcane set out there is a set of gloves. So I might even end up getting rid of these too if I was going to stay at 30. Right now it's raising the caster level by 2, so I like this item, even though I would probably respec it if I was staying up. Wearing 3 pieces of the level 20 epic Abishai set, and that again is to get a +3 bonus to my evocation spells. That's the helm, the cloak. This is my highest con item right now, +7. So I'm 10 points down on con. Makes things interesting. And the boots. And I also have empty slots here too, open probably for a Gem of Vitality and more hit points if I decide. And the Lantern Ring. And this is what's giving you a little bit of bonus damage on your cast spells still. So I like to wear it, even though, Radiance isn't my primary thing. See, I'm not sure. I'm only wearing a +5 Insightful Intelligence item. That's all I have. And of course, this is a new item from the Barovia chain of quests somewhere. This is giving exceptional universal spell power 10%. Or spell lore, excuse me. It's giving a higher chance to crit. So that's it. I have a lot of work to do if I decide to keep it up here to maximize those spell powers and everything. But the main reason why I wanted to show you was, even with nothing spec'd, except 185 spell power on the fire, it's still popping off even when I do melee damage. And I can test that on the training dummy and with a Gust of Wind, which is supposed to be a spell that does no damage. The good thing about this is you can cast it even in common areas. We used to be able to hit and blow over halflings in the market with it. Then they would get mad though. So I don't recommend that. Now, the Barovia Scepter, here it is, it's called the Morning Lord Scepter, is already giving a potency of 145 to each individual spell power and an insightful potency. So again, I have slotted in there a red Rupia Glaciation 114, which is my highest, but the base spell power from this is already over it. There's no reason to even have that red slot in there. So it's taking the 145. And I have 4 tiers done on the Sentient Gem, not the 5th tier. 5th tier for this particular set would give you, when I trigger stuff, I get spells cheaper for 10%. And I haven't even really been paying attention because I was content with the 4. So again, something to work on. I started building this for my ice lore and my intelligence item to replace the other belt that I have. But I got to run slavers about 4,000 more times. So I'm just going to cast. Well, first I'll beat on it just to show you on our training dummy. The fire damage is coming up from the Dilettante, but the caster light damage is not coming up because I'm doing melee. 163, whatever, 241. And then as I stand back and we wait for the training dummy to come back, the one spell that I can damage it with is doing that. I'm still, there's a 1400 and a 186 on light. I'm still not entirely sure about how that light damage goes from 3 to 36 to 179, but it does. And I mean, I'm not complaining about it. It's a bonus damage that I intended to build on top of whatever I did with cold or force. It's kind of cool. So it just triggers. There's a 1100 and a 334. So in my racial enhancement tree, whoops, in my enhancement tree, and then I scroll back over to the left and look at the racial, again it says, from this tier you get 30 maximum spell points, and then for item use purposes you are now treated as a 10th level warlock, or your total character level, whichever is lower. So I maxed that out to get up there. Just wanted to see what that bonus damage would be like in the end. And 100 spell points and 3 spell penetration from Arcanum. Whatever this is, focused. Plus 3 concentration and intimidate. And plus 20 positive healing amp. It's good to have when you're in Reaper mode. Just didn't have enough points still to be undead and do this. Now, in terms of the Epic Destiny, I'm in Draconic for all of the cold associated things, and this is how it looks like. The important thing here is the Draconic Fury, which will give you a 50 bonus to your spell power for 20 seconds, and all of these, the lower tier raises your Warlock, Sorcerer, Bard levels by 1 every time you go up. I mean, I like the added benefit of the Draconic Spell Augmentation, a 15% chance to deal a blast of 96 extra sonic damage. Kind of neat. And then the bursts and the breath. I've twisted in Sacred Ground, trying to be nice to our group that we always play with, so you can help them out once in a while. And the tier 3 is Sacred Ground, and the tier 2 slotted in so that I can heal some of the people around me. Sometimes I end up running up and casting it by the melee units with not the best outcomes. If I get popped by something hard standing near the melee, sometimes it's bad. Last night in Baba's hut, I think she cast a cyclonic blast at one of the other melees that went through him and hit me. It's pretty brutal. So the consecrated ground does damage to them, and then does damage to or heals your party members with 2 tiers. Third tier would be really great, a 10% enhancement bonus to the damage of your attacks, but I didn't slot that in. I don't think I could get a 4 or 3, a 2, and then 2 1s in my twists. I think that's what I had experimented with. Next thing I did was Faithful, and that's in Not primal. Where did that come from? Sharadi. Hey, here it is. Tier 2 Sharadi, giving you damage reduction and then 15% or plus 15 spell power. I like 15 spell power, trying to raise that force damage. It's so hard to come by. Endless Faith, and this is from Exalted Angel. This is giving you more spell points and also restores your spell point pool to 30. So if things get dire, you can usually cast some spells without meta magics on them. And then fast healing. And this is from, oh gosh, where is that from? Fury of the Wild? Yeah. Just trying to keep yourself alive a little. The problems are that this character draws tremendous aggro. So, you're going to take damage sometime. What else did I want to look at there? Because, no, let's look at Epic Destinies again. I want to go back there because some of the feats that open up for epic feats at higher levels are dependent upon having your trees filled out. Like I have all of them filled out with 6,000. So then it offers you stuff from their sphere. My whole point of telling you that is because I'm headed over to Feats. Um, if we go to the epic feats, this is what I will click on. I took Hellball up there. I took the epic spell Power Cold. It was another 20 and some. I don't know what else that's all it gives. And plus 24 spell for the epic spell Power Force. Legendary feats. Ah, there it is. Scion of the Plane of Fire. That's giving you the 25% spell critical damage with all spells, regardless. Doesn't have to be fire. Now, the 2d20 fire damage to weapon and unarmed attacks scales with spell power, but it's not for spells. It's for melee. And then some bonus to MRR and PRR, and a 30 universal spell power, which I like. Again, anybody can pick whatever they want up there. I do it specifically for the 25% spell critical damage. I also took Burst of Glacial Wrath because I was cold spec'd. And this is something I've been experimenting with. It has a chance to freeze creatures in place. It's kind of neat. Meta Magics, Intensify Spell, Maximize, Heightened, Empower, I've taken. Master of Knowledge, and it's 2% bonus spell crit damage. And plus 3 universal spell power per stack. It says it can stack up to 30 times. One stack removed every 6 seconds. So yeah, I'm all in on that too. Wellspring of Power, I activate it. It's a clicky. Plus 20% spell critical damage for 30 seconds. And it says 3-minute cooldown. These are all clickies that I use in conjunction, and usually first thing that you want to cast is the Reveler's Regalia to get that bonus started it, and to get the 25% festive bonus to spell critical damage. But the thing is that this one lasts for 90 seconds, so you have time to hit your other clickies before you start firing away with magic missiles or whatever else. This is a 20-second 2 Draconic Fury. And my spell power boost is another 20 seconds. So I usually pop this one, flop back to my cloak, to my Barovian Noble's Regalia quick, and then hit these three in conjunction and hope to God that within that 20-second period, while you're casting that, your Arcane Supremacy comes out. And this will last for 12 seconds, but it's another 100% spell critical damage and 25% spell critical chance. When this thing is active and you hit those breath effects or bursts from the Draconic tree, is how you get those gigantic hits. It's how I hit that. How I hit with my guildies for 50k the other day. Look at the draw. Sometimes you'll fire off all these and you'll be prepared for 20 seconds to do it, but your Arcane Supremacy won't go off. But it's still pretty substantial damage, around 13,000 on the breath. That's this dragon breath. So now that I've showed you that nice little trading it's funny. I'm gonna just go out to Giant Hold to end the video and show you to see if I can get it to hit on a big group of giants with the breath weapon. Try to time it so that I get everything right. Maybe we'll get lucky. I should try to hit all those clickies and scroll down to scroll to my character sheet quick to show you what the spell powers jump to and what the spell critical chance jumps to, because they all stack. I'm trying to keep this video duration down, but failing. Oh God. Working when I press the F key or not, but I just did some preliminary buffage, sucking up pots, and I'll tap this one spell power boost and jot over to my character sheet quick. And this is after drinking greater pots too, so 738 on the first. Didn't change the spell critical chance, 55. Didn't change the spell critical multiplier either, base 25. But I like to drink those pots too, just to boost out everything else that I can. And then I'll drop down and we'll go work towards that big group that's in that little alcove in Giant Hold before I do all my buffs, all those Wellspring of Power and everything. And just see if I can get a big hit for you. And there's Arcane Supremacy went off. Jeez, that's so unfair. I'm so not ready. Okay, and in this, I'm just going to use Force Missiles, I think, when I get ready on this. And then we'll go back through the combat log to check it. Let's hope. So here you go, I hit that, the Night Horrors, Wellspring of Power, Draconic Fury, and the last clicky that I have that's on a quicker cooldown. And then I'm just going to run up here quick and blast this guy with chain missiles.
Stand in my way. Suffer the consequences.
did not get arcane whatever to go off, so that's it. That was just the force missiles down here on my 1 through 4. That was magic missile, arcane bolt, evocation 3 chain missiles, and the arcane blast. All SLA clickies. You can see I've got those all maxed out with all my meta magics because they're cheap. Spell point total up here is only down, what, 200 with my buffs? It's very easy to just play and not run out of juice. It sucks that that arcade thing went off right there. It's funny though. Oh, Night Horrors is done. Now this guy here, I'm just gonna hit him with a dot. And that is Nyax fighting cold. Ticked off. Very close. And I didn't hit him with anything else because I wanted to open up the combat log to show everybody what happened. And that's chain missiles. Okay, here's where I cast it, and this shows my caster level for the cold spells. Showing you begin to cast Nyax Bite Cold at level 29. And then the first thing that triggered was that fire damage, 543. And then the light damage went off from that ring, 211. And then it started to take cold on 314. 682. 609. And then the final 281. So there's quite the disparity in there with just letting it tick down in the amount of damage that come out. But I wanted to show that the fire and the light still did hit. I don't know what the proc rate is on that, every 2 seconds or something. And then before I end the video, I'll do the same thing on this guy. No big groups of giants today. I will just tick it down with Wellspring of Power, or just blast him right away with this cold breath here and see what happens. There you go. There's an 8900 without any Wellspring of Power or the critical multipliers on it. Spell critical damage only 20. And that looks like it's casting at level 40, so good times. It did not trigger the fire though. So that only comes off of your evocation spells. Try one more time. I'm gonna end it. I gotta end this video. Arcane Supremacy just went off. There's a 26-9 breath attack. And this guy's stunned. I don't know if that was Colors the Queen that went off or what. Added bonus that I had him, I think. So there it is. The White Dragon Breath crit on that for 26,905. Unfortunately, I didn't have the rest of these on. Draconic Fury or the Spell Power Boost or the Revel's Regalia. But still, this is pretty substantial for if you want to kill somebody. And originally with the guys in the door, I just cast one Nyax Biting Cold on the guy, and here it is. And you can see again, the cold hit there for 609. I have no idea why the Sworn Sky Knight got hit for 175 acid damage. It might have been from the Colors of the Queen 7% thing over there. Or, I have no idea. Right there, Colors of the Queen. Save versus Lightning Bolt. Lightning does strike twice. Nice. Nyax Cold has greater effect. So that crit for 1400. And it's ticking down. And then the fire damage went off, 228 and 125. Those are not bigger numbers like what we saw before. Again, the fire did not go off on the Dragon Breath and probably the Energy Burst. They seem like they're separate. And then down here it says that I did Nyax Biting Cold has greater effect again, and then the first thing that hit the giant that was stunned was fire damage from the Dilettante. That's a lot better number on the fire damage than what I wanted, or what we saw earlier. So anyway, I'm going to end the video here, and I'm happy that I got to make it. I wish we could get a gigantic hit all-important nation for you, but it just didn't happen today. Thank you for the fun.